Alright guys, so we're on to, I guess this would be, I'm not going to go by chapters because I'll get confused, but installing MT4 in the setup. And I am doing, like I said, I'm doing this a little bit different. I'm doing it live, and then this live will be copied into the book, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I figured it'd be easier to do this as a Q&A type setup. I have a mosquito in here. So that way if there's questions and people are watching, they can ask questions as I run through the setup. So the first thing we're going to cover is, and I guess I was a little bit, didn't show this much, but I'm going to be showing the US setup. Now, if you're in Australia or somewhere else and you can get this, the two preferred brokers, non-US would use Pepperstone. US can't use them, unfortunately, or we would all be killing it. But for non-US, you want to use Pepperstone, and for US, you want to use FXCM. If you cannot use one of those two, or there's an issue with the amount of the deposit, get with me. There are a few other choices, but they have not been confirmed to, I guess you could say, run perfect. So I would definitely say you're going to have to use your demo appropriately, where with these two we can kind of cheat and guide you into the settings so you can almost be profitable right from the get-go. Just as a fair warning here, just because we can give you the settings for these of what typically runs profitable, you still need to do your 30-day demo. The reason for that, and I'm going to preach this about 10 times during the course, setup mistakes. People input times wrong, people input pips wrong, people input their straddle wrong. There's a ton of things that can go wrong, and I'm not saying it's difficult. It's just rinse and repeat over and over. After you've done this for 1 month, it's kind of like muscle memory. You'll be able to run through a setup for 5 news releases in 5 minutes. It'll take you like 30 seconds a piece for each news release. But you need to get proficient and make sure you're not making mistakes. Some of the people that went live early did make a few mistakes, and they lost money. Like, real money. But that's not too big of a deal. Again, this is not difficult. A monkey could trade news. And I hate to say it that way, but a freaking monkey could trade news. So I'm going to be going through the FXCM setup of Metatrader. Now, the easiest way to do this is you're eventually going to need to open an account, but we're going to do a practice account because your first 30 days are on practice, so it doesn't matter. All you have to do is go to Platforms, Metatrader4, scroll down to the bottom, and it'll say Download Metatrader4 App, and it's right there. You download Metatrader and install it. I'm going to skip through that because it's already been done. If you need help with this, let me know. But when you download it, basically, if you're using Chrome, it's going to hit save. Hit save. It's be down here. You open it up, run, and it will hit yes. And you just hit yes, and then the rest is next, next, next. Okay, now being on that, once it is installed, it's going to open up. Just go ahead and close it. It's going to ask you to sign in. Don't worry about that. Close it. And here's FXCM. So let's bring it front and center. We're going to right-click it. We're going to go to Properties. Now this is Windows 10, so it might vary. But look around. You should see a Compatibility tab. We want to make sure Run this program as administrator is checked. Hit Apply and hit OK. It's as simple as that. Now we can go ahead and open it up. This time when you open it up, we're going to go ahead and get you logged in. We've done nothing on the website yet, so don't worry. We don't even have to. Just go to File, and most likely there's going to be a window popping up asking for you to username and password. Close it. Go to File. Go to Open an Account. I'm using FXCM USD Demo 02 for this video. You hit Next. New Demo Account. Next. Fill in this, so Brian Mouths. Email, bry@fakeemail.com, and 724-444. Account type, I'm going to put it to USA. Deposit, 5,000. Leverage, it will not. Hit I agree. The next button will be highlighted. Now it's going to take a minute. Okay, login, password, investor. I would write down all 3 of these. We'll talk about that later. It's not part of the course, but we'll talk about this later. Write down all 3 of these for your demo. Go ahead and click Finish. And that is your MT4 setup. Simple as that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close everything. And next we're going to take a look at MT4 and the news course that you're going to get. Okay, so you received a zip file. It says news course. Looks like this. Next we're going to be putting everything in here into MT4 that you need to. So you'll need MT4 open. Open up that news course. You're going to see EA, scripts, set files, TPL files, README first, which you should have done. And if not, you probably aren't to this step. And spread info. And plus you'll see the PDF. I removed the PDF for now because the PDF is open. It's open right here. And I'm going as we're doing, like I said, the live Q&A as we go, so I can make changes to it when we're done. But you will see God, that mosquito's killing me. But you will see the PDF in there. But for now, let's not worry about that too much. Let's just get this open. We're going to move this and this. So now we can see both. So the first thing you need to do is go up to File, Open Data Folder. Once this is open, you're going to see MQL4. We're going to go there. Now you see EA, that's Expert. So let's open up Experts and EA. There's two of them in here. You can just, you click one, hold down Control, click the other, drag and drop it over here, and release. If it says it's already there, just tell it to overwrite. But it shouldn't because I renamed the EA. You might have Evolution Rinko already, but just go ahead and drag and drop it and release. Let's go up to here, and let's go up again. Next, we're going to go to Scripts, and Scripts. You'll see P4L order history. This is a change because we no longer have the orders indicator. If you have the orders indicator, feel free to keep using it. This is the replacement for the newer people because the gentleman who made the orders indicator decided to start charging for it. I actually saw that mine and one of my MT4s wouldn't load up anymore, so it looks like he might be blocking the older versions now. So we may have to all switch to this eventually. But you just drag this over to here and copy it in. Now up again and up again. The next folder we see is set files. Set files are also called presets. Set files. There's going to be default news and news build. And let's see, news build and default. And there's going to be one called Rinko News. I have that out of there right now, but I'll show it to you in a minute. So we just drag and drop all three of them into here. You can see Rinko News is... I'm sorry, that's a template. These are set files. Don't worry about what I just said. Ignore it. News build set and default news. These are two different things. So default news goes into here, and news build set goes into here. One is for the EA and one's for an indicator. Don't worry about it. I'm just smoking crack today, I guess. So next is template files. We go to templates. Here's all my templates. We go to TPL. Here's build news and Rinko news. Sorry about that. I was a little confused. Both of these go into the templates folder. And you can see I have build news and Rinko news. Now, you can see I have different ones because this is for my daily trading, but build one, don't worry about this if you're not trading Forex. All you'll need is build news. Okay, so ignore everything else I have, like I have build 1, build 2, build 3. We'll talk about that more in the day-to-day thing, but for now let's just keep it simple. Up, and that is it. That is all you have to do to get everything into MT4. So let's go back to the book. Well, actually, let's just go ahead and open up a chart then. File. Ignore this because we are going to be doing it again later. Let me close this because we don't need it anymore. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go to the 1 minute. Are we moving? God, everything's so slow. Yeah, it is moving. We're going to go to template. Now, remember it says build news. Well, let's just go ahead and do it. So here's build news. M79 is going to be your default. You can name... We'll go through this EA real quick. This is going to be by default. So this is going to be by... God. This little mosquito. I cannot get him. Okay, I'm sorry. The default settings for this are set up for Pepperstone. 20 pips. If you're on FXCM, let's just change this to 30. Everything else will be false. Now, it says Rinko time frame 79, so we're fine there. I'm going to rename mine to 33. You can keep it to 79. Reason B is 33 for means 30 pip box. 30 pip box. You cannot name it 30, though, because 30 is already here. You cannot give it any of these numbers. You cannot give it a 1, a 5, a 15, a 30, a 60, and so on. So you have to give it something odd other than that. Let's just keep it at 79 so I don't confuse anybody. Now it's built. So it's building my boxes for FXCM. If you're on Pepperstone, go ahead and keep it at 20. If you're on FXCM, let's change it to 30. I'll explain Rinko box size and why it's different for them in a bit, but for now, let's just do everything like I'm doing. Go to File, Open Offline. We have Euro USD, M79 right there. You can click Open or you can double click it. So Open. Now this one has no time frame. These are Rinko boxes. So the next thing we want to do is right click, go to Template, and Build News. I'm sorry. Jesus, I am just a mess. Rinko News. Ooh, you can see even if I screwed up, it's fine. Okay, so what that will give us is a setup that looks just like this. And as what I want you to do is go ahead then from this screen, I want you to hit F7 or right click, go to Expert Advisors, Properties. We're going to go to Common. Make sure that it says long and short, enable alerts, allow live trading, allow DLO imports, allow import of external experts. God, I can't talk today. Now when we get to here, it's inputs. So we're going to go to load, and you should have default news. We're going to do default news. This is where you are going to start on the course. It's going to be up to you from here to I'm going to get this mosquito eventually. It's going to be up to you from here to maintain your spreadsheet, which we're going to get into later. But this is your default news. I am going to go through the settings. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab something. Crap. I was getting my electric fly swatter, but my daughter stole the batteries out of it. Okay, so sorry, this is completely unprofessional, but the mosquito's killing me. This is going to be your default setup. So let me do something real quick. Let's do this, and let's bring up this. So we're past the MT4 and setup. We're into Expert Advisor settings. Let's actually bring up the advisor. Now, I'm going to cover a few things on here, but if you don't see it on this list, I would ignore it. Your settings are already in here. I'm going to go through the basic settings that you need to be worried about. So points away, what is that? That is stage 2. I'm sorry, points away is your straddle. Remember on your straddle, that's how far away that it puts the buy and sell order. So what does 80 mean? That means 8 pips. This is points, everything here. See, it says points, points. 80 points equals 8 pips. It's just basically move the decimal place to the right one. Okay? So 80 pips, great. Or 8 pips, great. 80 equals 8. Now points gap is 2,000. What does that mean? I guess you really don't have to worry about it too much, but this is stage 1, or this is stage 2, and this is stage 1. I know they're backwards, but don't worry about it. We'll explain it here in a second. This is the initial order. What happens, and we'll get more into this, but right here where it says stage 1 will be 60. All this will be changed in your template. Don't worry about it, because as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to save the template. Stage 1, what that means is 60 seconds out from news, it's gonna go ahead and place your buy stop and your sell stop. It's going to put it, this is 2,000, so it's going to put it 200 pips away. That's just to get the orders on the screen, and it's going to do that 60 seconds out. That gives it plenty of time to not miss the trade. If we get this too close, what I was seeing was an issue with ticks. I'm not going to get into it. Let's just take it that 60 seconds and 4 seconds. Stage 1, 60. Stage 2, 4. Points gap 2000. This one will be adjusted by your spreadsheet, but for now we're just going to leave it at 80, which is 8 pips. Modify gap will be 1. Take profit 0. Stop loss 0. Here is what we added in, and this is called max loss, or this is your failsafe. I added this in recently. Well, it depends on when you see this video, how recent is. But this got added in because I saw a trade when I told people not to trade on, it was GBP USD. It was a late releasing report. It was when the US session was going into limbo and the Aussie session hadn't kicked in yet. The spread was like 20 some plus pips. They had a 4 or 6 pip straddle going, and before news hit, their orders started popping all over the place. So it was order, and those were it was popping trades. So that for one was too tight of a straddle. But what I noticed is one of his trades just kept running and running because the spread was so high. It actually started the trade in the negative, and it was so far beyond the trailing stop that it was never triggered. So he had 2 losses, one of 32 pips and one of 62 pips, and we don't want that. So your max loss here for me, I put in 150, which is 15 pips. That is way beyond what I want, but this is an emergency stop that should never be hit. Now, I will say there are going to be some kind of news releases where it might just, like an absolute bomb is dropped onto the news release, something completely unexpected, and that's why I put this in, because if you follow the course and trade when you're supposed to, this should never happen. But eventually, there's going to be some freaky-ass news report that a bomb is dropped and the spread just goes complete ape shit on. That's why I put the failsafe in, because eventually it's going to happen. I mean, it's just an inevitability that the max loss is in here. So that's 15 pips max loss. If the trade ever goes 15 pips negative, it will automatically shut it down. Now let me be clear. This is not a take profit. It is not a stop loss. It monitors an open trade for max loss and closes it. So it will not interfere with the trailing stop unless this is smaller than the trailing stop. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but I just want to make it extremely clear. This max loss is not a stop loss or a trailing stop loss. It is simply monitoring the trade so that if for some reason our trailing stop is not kicked and it is bypassed, that this is a secondary backup. It's basically just to stop a catastrophic failure is what I would call it. Damn that mosquito. Okay, so next one, end year. Means what year is it? 2016. Month, it's November, so it's 11. End day, it is the 8th. It's election day. An hour, for me, it is 8 o'clock. This is military time, guys. It's in the book, but if you don't know military time, go into the book. So if it was 1 o'clock, it would be 13. It's just like your broker. See how it's 1548 down here? Now, we use system time to place trades. So you need to punch in the time that the trade will happen local to you. And we will get into that here in a second on how to set that up with Forex Factory. But, sorry, I'm just scratching. But the time needs to be local to you. So if we had a trade at 9 o'clock, I would, well, let's say 8:16. We'll put in 8 and 18 seconds. We don't mess with. Stage 1, 60. Stage 2, 4. Initial buy stop is 60 seconds out. 4 seconds out, it will suck it in to 8 pips away, and it will start following price. And for now, we're going to leave it to true. We'll come back to everything else. So we got in 9 seconds, we'll see what happens here, so you can understand what I went through. I think it's easier for you just to see it. I'm going to shrink this down. And what did I do? I probably did it. What did I set it up as? 11, 8, 8, 18. I put 16, 17. I forgot to turn it to system time so far. Okay, so ignore what I'm doing so far. Oh, yeah. Use broker time. We put false here, so let's give this a retry. Your set file will be right. I'm sorry. I'm doing this from scratch, but if it doesn't trigger, here's one troubleshooting step. Make sure that if you go check it, because every now and then templates will get screwed up. But we want to make sure allow buys and sells. We're going to go through everything. But so we went down to here. Where were we? Trail immediate will be false. Money management, false. Risk percentage we can ignore. Lots is your trade size. When you start off, 0.01. Max spread, we're going to put to 0 to disable it. Again, this will all be set up correctly for you. Add spread to stop loss will be false. I just want to make sure you can go through, though, and understand settings. Max slippage, we're going to go ahead and put that at 0. We'll get into it later. Allow buys is true. Allow sells is true. Use broker time is false. If this is your first time with the course, or you just downloaded it, even if you loaded up the set file or you have this as a template, go through and verify all these settings are correct. Delete on shutdown is true. Trade log, we don't need to worry about that. Trailing stop true. Current 5, smooth, median 0, 0. Now, so it is what? 8:18, so we'll do this for 8:20. And let me hit OK. And again, this way you can see what happens with it. And then we'll save that set file for you since everything is now correct. Okay, so if we look up here now, system time says 8:18, news time 8:20. So we have at 60 seconds out, here is the buy stop and the sell stop was placed. This is what you want to see. If you don't, some troubleshooting steps to do. Go to terminal, go to experts, and look, every time you set this up, you should see this right here. This is all your settings should appear. If this doesn't appear, then the EA is not active. Something happened. It might have had an issue with getting into your history. You might not be running this as admin. I do not know, but just let me know. This did not appear when I placed my trade. If we go to journal, it'll say order was opened. Order was opened. There they are. Now let's see what happens when we get 4 seconds out. We'll watch what happens. You're not going to be able to see it too much because the markets aren't really moving. It's flat as shit because of election day. Once we've gone through the EA, we'll go through everything else. We went through the EA, the 2 EAs. We'll go through the script, but we really don't have too much to show on the script because there are no trades. So you couldn't even see anything happen because of it. This was our buy stop, our sell stop got moved in, our buy stop got moved in at 4 seconds. 5 seconds after the trade occurred, it deletes them. So if you're not at home, you don't gotta worry. And that is simply what you have to do for each one. So let me go ahead and do this, and I'm going to do save, and I'm going to do default news and save. Yes. So now all your settings are somewhat correct. Let's go over this one more time, guys. I want to make sure you're aware of everything in the EA, but you don't have to use everything in the EA. Points away will be determined by your spreadsheet. We'll get into that in a little bit later. Points away is when the EA kicks in and your straddle starts following price for the last 4 seconds before news. When that countdown hits 0, buy stop, sell stop are locked in place, and we wait for price to spike up or down or be a dud. We're going to get a small loss, small win, big win, or it's going to be a dud, nothing's going to happen. Points gap, 200 pips away, 60 seconds out, buy stop and sell stop are placed. Modify gap. This means every pip that it is moved, every point, I'm sorry. So every time it moves a point, the EA is going to try and adjust it. Take profit and stop loss, not touching it, it will be 0. Max loss is 150, which equals 15 pips. That is up to you what you want to accept on it, but that is a catastrophic stop loss failure. It's not a stop loss, it monitors, but it's worst case scenario. Something goes completely apeshit, batshit. If I go 15 pips in the negative, this trade is going to close. And year is the year, month, day, and time. Military time. Let's get down there. And military time. I guess I'm confused, but I thought I had it on here. Oh, here we go. Military time. I did include it on the spreadsheet. So you have to look at it. Now and we're going to cover this more, but where do we get our news releases from? Forex Factory. But we're going to get into this a little bit more. And as you can see, it's 822 here, 822 here. It matches. You need to make sure Forex Factory is there. You can see that I am logged in. I highly recommend logging in, so every time you come to this, it knows where you are. Because if it's not right, you just click here. Once you're logged in, set your time, save, and it will remember who you are. And your Forex Factory time will always match. One of the things I've seen new people make a mistake with, and we're going to get more into that in detail, is that Forex Factory, they weren't on the right time zone, so they punched the wrong time in here. They're like, my trade never went, and it's because you were an hour off, either ahead or behind, or sometimes 2 hours. So please make sure and do it. Okay, so we covered this military time. Now, minutes, 30. Now, if it's on the hour, 8 o'clock, it is just 10. You can see if you try and put in 2 zeros, it will not let you. So it's just 10. Seconds we don't touch. Stage 160, stage 2, 4. This is 0, wait after. Now, wait after, for me, I do 6 seconds. I don't mind waiting the trade late a little bit, but by default it's 5. 5 is a very good one to do. As you trade in the course, some of these you might get some preferences on that you want to adjust. But for me, wait after is adjustable depending on the news release. But we'll get into that more in depth also. Again, you ask me questions and I can help you out with these things. Everything else, OCO is true. BE, 4 zeros down. I'm not going to read those. Trail immediate is false. MM false. Money management does not kick in, and I've gone into that before and we'll talk about it later. Risk percentage, I'm not messing with. I'm inputting my lots manually, and we're going to talk about that later. Max spread, 0. It's false, false. Max slippage, 0. Allow buys, true. Allow sells, true. Use broker time is false. Delete on shutdown, true. Do not mess, true. Current, 5. Smooth. Median, 0, 0. Done. Simple as that, guys. Those are your settings. It's in your set file, so don't get screwed up on it, but confirm. Okay, trying to think what else. Scripts. Once the trade is over, all you have to do is go to here, drag this onto your chart, and hit OK. It's going to put some additional information on there, and if there was a trade. Now, in a follow-up video, I will be showing a trade live, but today we're just getting through the basics in the book. I don't want you confused. But this script will show you what happened with the trade. It's as simple as that. That's all you have to know for now on the video. Alright, so let's go back to the book real quick, see if we missed anything. Do we have any questions before I end this? Let me check on YouTube. I haven't even been watching. Okay, so this was covering installing MT4 in the setup. We got a little more in depth in it, but I don't mind repeating myself 10 times going through this. We also did expert advisor settings. Again, if you read, if you have any questions, contact me, guys. Just don't get crazy. Okay. Next up, we're going to be talking demo. This is going to be your first step after you've contacted me and said, hey, I'm confused, I'm not confused, I'm set up. Next video will be demo, so we're going to take a 5-10 minute break. We'll come back and we're going to do demo time. Alright, so since there's no questions, that is it. Again, guys, if you're watching this for the first time, I'm doing this live so that people could ask questions. That way, if they ask a question, I figure it should be in the tutorial for how to do this, because if they ask a question, most likely someone else is going to have the same question. It's something new, and I decided to do this way just in case. But we're going to go ahead and do demo next, so stay tuned. I'll be back in about 5-10 minutes.